Welcome to Red, White, and Bethune. We are a family of 5 humans and 6 dogs living in a 1983 Eagle bus.
We sold our house to hit the road in our 350 square foot home on wheels. Tag along as we show you America through our lens.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Red, White, and Bethune. As you guys might notice, we are sitting in our hot tub for one of the very last times that we're going to sit in it. We're closing this week on it. So with that being said, we were kind of inspired to make a video about how to go full-time. And if you're interested in going full-time, what are the things that you really need to do to make your plan in order to get on the road?
Yeah, we're going to do definitely a condensed version of this. By no means are we experts. By no means that we wrote the book on this. But we have a little bit of knowledge on it, a little bit of experience at it. We've been living it for about the past 9-10 months.
Our first thing is you really have to think about your rig. That's what you're going to be moving into, and to me it's one of the most important decisions that you're going to make in this way to full-time is what do I think that we're going to like? What do we want to live in?
Yeah, this is a huge one because it all depends on who you are. Do you have a family? Are you solo? It really just depends on what you're comfortable with. Have you ever given experience driving a bus or a Class A or towing? Go test drive some stuff. Go to RV dealerships. Say, hey, we're just looking. It's going to be one of the most important parts for you, especially if you are completely new to RVing and don't have any idea about what you're getting into.
Another thing you can do is rent one.
Yeah.
You can go on a little weekend camping trip or something and rent one. They have different ones to rent. You can get a feel for, is this really for you?
I mean, just to ring them off, you have your most affordable options likely going to be a towable travel trailer. You can pick these up used for under $10,000, honestly, if you're willing to do some work to it. And then you can move up. You have more options. You have Class A's, which of course is going to be one of your most expensive options.
But they're drivables.
Drivables, and like I say, it just all depends on your needs. How much sleeping space do you need? How much do you have animals you're taking with you? So there's so many variables that go into deciding what your rig is ultimately going to be.
I mean, if you have kids, you need to figure out how much space you're going to need for them. Do you need an office space? There's so many ways to customize your rig, but finding the right one and the right floor plan that works with you, everything else can kind of be worked around and remodeled a little bit to make it what you need it to be. First step in deciding if you can do this lifestyle is renting one for a weekend or a week and see if it's really for you.
The last thing I want to add about the rigs, and this is something I do and my wife not so much, always have the end game in mind as far as your rig. When you go buy a rig, look, what happens is 5 months down the road, I hate this life, I don't want to do it anymore. You need to be able to get rid of that rig and be able to sell it and not be buried in it. This question gets asked a lot, do I buy new, do I buy used? I'm going to tell you to buy used. If I could be wrong, everybody's going to have their opinion. It's one of the worst depreciating objects you'll ever buy in your life. Mm-hmm. So used, is my opinion, is the way to go. For that one, for the main reason, yes, you're going to lose money as soon as you drive off a lot. 2, most of them come with kinks and stuff that's broken. It's just part of it. It's part of the process. Definitely have the end game in mind. Be able to buy something you can get rid of if you need to. So probably the most asked question or most talked about question when going full-time is income. What do you do for income? How do you make a living? How do you afford to do this? It comes up so much, and it's a good question, obviously, because it does cost to do this.
Well, for me, I think what changed is I read the book, and I'll link it down below, 48 Days to the Life That You Love. And it's all about making a career or a business out of your strengths, what you love to do. And the great thing is most of these things are very remote working kind of things. There's so many ways to make income on the road, and especially doing what you love. We also have rental properties, so that's the bulk of our income. And it's easy. We have a property manager that lives on site, so we do affiliate marketing. We're growing the YouTube channel. We're coming up with merchandise. There's so many different ways to make money on the road.
I would say for me, just start out with what is your skill set? What do you currently do? How do you earn an income now? So, and there's podcasts on this that specialize solely on nomad income, RV incoming, full-time incoming. So definitely check those out. But this is definitely an important question. There's really no right answer. It's all based on who you are, what you can do, and you know we're different than you're going to be. You know, so everybody has to find their way, and it is possible though.
You can go to different parks and you can do what's called work camping, where they, you know, basically that covers your lot rent, and you can live for free by working 20 to 30 hours a week at the campground.
Yeah, there's opportunities out there. You have to be willing to step outside your comfort zone a little bit and you know, and go find them.
This next one is a really big one. As Americans in our society, we feel like we need to have all the things and all the stuff and thousands of square foot houses, and we really don't. And you've got to decide if you need that or if you don't need that. Because if you feel like you need that, full-time life is probably not for you. Plus, we thought it would be hard, but it was really cathartic getting rid of so much stuff that you don't use, and it opens your eyes to saving money because you don't need to go out and buy all of this crap that you really don't need.
Downsizing is more than likely something you're going to have to face, because chances are you're going to live in a bigger space currently than you do when you move into some type of RV. And it's something we all have to face. And like she said, if you're not willing to do that, then it's probably not going to work out for you, because you're not going to be able to take every single thing you own likely on the road with you.
Well, it's an eye-opening experience because you realize that you don't need that much stuff, and going forward, whenever you go to buy something, you're like, oh, yeah, I probably don't. You own a home, you need to decide if you want to put it on the market and sell it,
right,
or if you want to rent it out. You know, if you're unsure about this lifestyle, we had done RVing for years, so we knew it was something that we're diving into. If you just want to do it for a year, the best recommendation is to rent out your house. You can also rent it out fully furnished, so you don't have to get rid of beds and stuff like that. And if you decide this lifestyle isn't for you, you have a place to come home to.
And you can hire a property manager that handle that for you. It's something, if you're intimidated by that whole process, that's kind of what we do for a living. So it wasn't as big of a deal for us, but I can see where it would be intimidating and you know, it can be very frustrating. But a property manager would be willing to help you. You got to really look at your end game too. Are we in this for long haul? Are we going to do it a year and come back? You know, you've got to make that's got to be part of that first thing we talked about, is your initial planning. So another one that's going to really fall into questioning is, what is going to be your travel style? Are you going to travel every day, move every couple days? Are you going to stay somewhere a week? Are you going to move monthly? Are you going to move annually? Are you not going to move at all? You know, it's really, you know, that's your option. You know, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Basically, it's all going to come down to your income. I mean, how often are you able to move? Do you have a job here or a job there that you have to stay for? And your skill set. Are you okay with driving the rig a lot and moving it around a lot? Because those are things that you're going to have to take into consideration.
For us, we knew that we didn't want slides. And, you know, we wanted something that's going to be up and down the road, because when we first launch, we're going to be moving a lot. We want to see as much as possible before homeschooling kicks in again. On travel days, you know, usually when you have slides, it restricts your movement inside your rig. So, you know, for us, a bus just made sense. Now for you, if it's going to be stationary on a piece of land, if you're wanting to buy a piece of land and just put it stationary, you may want to look into fifth wheels. Knowing your travel style is really important, and sometimes you may not even know your travel style until you get out there, and that's okay too, especially if you've never lived this lifestyle or done RVing a lot. You want to make sure that you're flexible, really. And you may get to a campground and hate it, and guess what? We need to pick up and move. So the best thing that you can do in this life is to pivot.
Yeah, I mean, that is the beauty of it. If you get somewhere you don't like it, you leave. You know, you're not stuck with a year lease. You're not stuck with a mortgage that you got to pay. So you get somewhere, hey, this place sucks. Okay, we stay our week or however long you're paid for, and you go. So, I mean, that's going to be another part. Are you going to want to stay in campgrounds? Are you going to boondock a lot? Are you going to stay in national parks? A lot of your parks, state parks, national parks have stay limits with week, 14 days, 30 days. It varies, but that's something you'll find. As far as affordability, you're always gonna, the longer you stay, the cheaper your rate's gonna be. So if you stay a day, your rate's gonna be a lot more than if you were to stay a week or say a month. I know a lot of places, Arizona, Florida, they have seasonal rentals also, where you can rent for the season, months at a time. So it just all depends on what you're thinking you're going to want to do and what you're able to do. But that's definitely going to be something that's going to have to come into your planning as you're planning to do this.
If you have a family, younger children, something that is super important is their schooling, and you have to figure out what you're going to do for their schooling. There's a lot of options available depending on your state. They have a online, it's free. Ours from Florida is called FLVS. We did it for a few months and really liked it. However, we're noticing that sometimes we may not have internet and we may not have connectability, and those types of online courses need connectability. So we're going to be switching to probably a written book curriculum. So you've got to decide if you can homeschool your children, if you even want to, and then what type of homeschooling that you're going to do. There's a Becca, there's a couple different other Christian ones. One is for free. It's go into those RV groups. There's tons of full-time RV groups, and ask them about homeschooling and what they've used and what's worked for them. And it's okay if you try one for half a year or a year and you hate it and you move on to something else. That's totally fine, because you just need to find your groove. Trust me, it is not easy homeschooling a bunch of kids, but you just gotta find what works for you. And going back to whatever rig you choose, you also need to have a space in your rig to be able to homeschool. That's why we put in a very large desk, so that way we could have two kids homeschooling there while we have one at the steering wheel desk, and they can be doing their homeschool out there. So it's another thing, if you do have kids, you need to be cognizant of. If you don't have kids and you're considering full-time life, then you're just really freaking lucky, and you just get to enjoy stuff as opposed to have to, be parents on the road.
Yeah, I know this is can be one of the most intimidating parts, and honestly it still is for me, because one of ours is finally going into homeschool, so we're gonna have all three. It's gonna be interesting. We did it the second, and which most of you probably did do some form of homeschooling with the COVID hit. So it's gonna be interesting. It's definitely something I'm a little nervous about, a little anxious about, and we'll have to see how it goes. But my only thing I was gonna say is, when part of your rig, you gotta be mindful of that.
Well, and that brings us to our next point of full-time living is internet. Yeah. Internet is a big thing. A lot of people, if you're working remotely, you've got to have internet in order to do that. There's a bunch of different options for internet. You can do hotspot, you can do WeBoost, you can just have your cell phone. You can go to libraries to use their internet as well. Why don't you tell them what we're thinking about doing?
Well, we're going with it. We're likely going to go with a company called Nomad Internet. Basically, it's a SIM-based internet service, so it's data-driven. But you put it into a SIM router modem, and it basically, you can stream basically like you have internet. It's supposed to be non-throttle. We haven't purchased it yet, so I don't really want to say how good or how bad it is. There is a Facebook group and website 100% dedicated to internet. We'll link that down below. But yeah, it really all depends on your needs. If you require good internet, you definitely have to do some research, see what works best for you, because it can be really, really spotty out there at campgrounds and certain areas.
But what we want you guys to take away from this video, especially if you're considering going full-time, is to really think about it. If it's a dream of yours, like it was of ours for years to do, you just need to find a way to do it. And you know what? If you get out there, do it for a year, and you hate it, you can come back. But at least these are memories that you've made that nobody can take away from you. And especially if you have kids as well, or even if you don't have kids and you're just a young couple, you know, getting out there and seeing the US is one of those things that a lot of people don't get to do. And if you're able to do it, find a way to get it done. There's resources out there to help you.
Absolutely. If it's something you want to do, it's obtainable. You know, look at us. We have 6 dogs, 3 kids, you know, we're in our 30s. Most people say, no, you shouldn't be doing that, you're crazy, but we're going to do it anyway. You know, and I think most people could find themselves in that situation. I know if she told me of a family the other day that had 10 kids, they were doing it.
Yeah, they're doing it with 10 kids.
I wouldn't do it with 10 kids. But
I wouldn't have 10 kids.
To each their own. But if it's something you want, it's something you want bad enough, definitely, yeah, you'll find out a way. And if this has been informative to you and you enjoyed it, let us know. We will definitely like to dive more into some of these topics that we talked on, because we're just scratched the surface, honestly. There's so much you can talk about.
Well, and it's great to get perspective from people that have been doing it for 5 years, that have been doing it for 10 years,
Yeah.
you know, 2 years even. And it's even better to get perspective from people that have just transitioned, that have just gotten rid of all their stuff, they're on the full-time life.
Everything in this video we enjoyed making, and we would be glad to help you in any way we could as far as, you know, steps to take. So reach out to us if you need us. And if you like this video, we get enough likes, we'll dig into it and kind of drill into some topics a little more and give a little more information. We don't have all the information, but we've definitely got a few months experience under our belt in this part of it, and we've been around RVs for a long time and know that area pretty good, so we'd be glad to help.
And with that, we'll see you guys tonight on our live stream. We've got some news, I guess, coming up about some stuff.
Yep.
So watch our live stream, and we will catch you guys later.
Yeah, but guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.